Ultra productivity almost killed me, and today we're gonna talk about that. In 2019, I got an offer to move cities for a new job. So basically, I moved my whole life. I stopped everything I was doing. I was in college. I dropped out to start this new job. I was really excited. I was gonna earn like 5 times more what I was currently earning on my college internship. So the pressure was on. I needed to learn all about the technologies I was going to use because I didn't know anything about them. I was gonna work with F Sharp, which was a programming language I have never worked with before, with a programming paradigm that I have never worked with before as well. And I really needed to make sure that everything worked out. But the thing is, when we started, me and my coworkers, we were all in this new team that was composed of junior developers. You could say this was their first or their second job. Everybody was either finishing college or had just finished college. So everybody was fresh in the market. Everybody was eager to learn, everybody was eager to improve, and nobody in the team knew anything about F Sharp, which was the language you were supposed to work with. Luckily, that was expected, and so our manager at the time really put on the effort to help us learn, help us improve, and show us the way so we could go and just develop ourselves, and learn by ourselves, and everything was great. After a couple months had passed, my manager sent an email to everybody in the team asking if anyone wanted to become a manager, a project manager, a product manager. And I replied to that email, even though I had no idea what a project manager or a product manager did. I was already in a different city. I was already in the other side of the country, away from all my family and friends. And I was like, why not? And that was one of the best decisions I made because only me and a friend replied to that email. And so we both got positions. I became the project manager and my friend became the product manager. And our manager at the time taught us everything. He gave us a lot of books to read. We had 101s every week. It was more like a mentoring session to really teach us what we needed to do to improve in our career and to be better. And everything was awesome. The more responsibilities I got, the higher the urge to improve. And I was going to work. I used to walk to work. I used to listen to audiobooks. I left work listening to audiobooks. At the time, I had stopped playing games so I could focus on the job. And I restarted playing games so I could listen to audiobooks. So I started playing games that didn't require much attention to the audio. I bought a Nintendo Switch and I used to play Smash. I used to play Hollow Knight, listening to audiobooks. And I can still remember the exact parts of certain books. Like I remember I was listening to Phil Knight's autobiography. He's the founder of Nike. And I was playing Hollow Knight. So it's weird how that works, like the sensations of whatever. So yeah, I was just reading more books, doing more courses, and reading more books, doing more courses. I started to write myself some articles online to share some of the knowledge I was gaining, and something else started to happen as well, which is I started to feel really bad whenever I wasn't being productive. So if I was washing the dishes, I felt bad if I was not listening to an audiobook. If I was at the gym, I felt bad if I was listening to music and not listening to an audiobook because I was not improving myself. And then I started to feel like I was losing myself to this ultra productive mindset. Like I need to be the best version of myself. I cannot waste time with futilities. I cannot entertain myself. I cannot amuse myself to death. I don't know if you have ever read that book. It's a good book, but productivity became a poison in my life. So everything that used to be fun is not fun anymore. And that became a problem, but that wasn't the actually issue that I'm going to talk about later. This was just the beginning of it. So I started to feel like everything I used to like doing was not worth doing anymore because I was wasting my time. I was wasting my life. I lost a big chunk of my personality, and that was consumed by the ultra productivity mindset. I used to wake up at like 5 a.m. to study and program so then I could work, and after work I would continue to study and program every day. I wanted to learn a new programming language. I actually released an app at the time and I learned everything by myself. I had never released an app. I had never worked on mobile development, and that's why I wanted to learn. I did everything myself. I released this app, and I got like 1,000 concurrent users with no marketing at all. Just me doing some like. I was really proud of that. It was really nice. But then it continued, and eventually I started to feel tired, because that happens when you work a lot, when you are overproductive, you start to feel pain. But it's not like physical pain, it's like a mental pain. You feel like your brain is not working as it should. It's like it's working at a reduced capacity, like 50% capacity, 30% capacity. You start to become slow. You are in meetings all the time. I was in meetings all the time, and people used to ask me questions, and it took me long to reply because I was slow, even though I was working all the time, and it was bad. And then I started to wish or think. It's like thinkful wishing. I don't know if that's a thing, but every day before I went to bed, before I slept, I used to think, I wish I wake up. I wish I wake up sick tomorrow. I wish I wake up sick so then I have an excuse not to work and I don't feel bad about not being productive. I wish something happened to me so that I don't need to justify me not being productive. And I did that every day for a while. Until one day, I woke up, I was getting ready to work, and I started to feel I started to feel pain in my belly, in my stomach. I knew it wasn't a stomachache because it was a different kind of pain, but I took pain meds anyway for bloating and stuff. I thought it was bloating related at the time. It wasn't. It got worse. It got worse fast. I sent a message on the group chat asking if anybody knew a hospital in the city because I wasn't from here, and nobody knew. I just talked to my girlfriend and we went to a university's hospital that was nearby. When I arrived there, I started to throw up a lot. I started to throw up everywhere. It was crazy. And then I was finally in the doctor's office, and I was in so much pain that I was in the floor, and because I couldn't stand up. It was hurting my like everything was hurting a lot, and it was a weird pain, like when I have never felt that before. It was not like something that I had already felt and it was like a higher pain, stronger pain. No, it was a different kind of pain. I have never felt that before. I didn't know what it was, and it was scary. I thought I was gonna die. When that thought started to happen, I was thinking, I think I might die. I don't know what the fuck is that. I don't know what's happening. The second thing I thought was, no one is gonna spend the money I worked so hard to get. I worked so many hours after work, in work, to save a lot of money, and nobody will use the money I saved because nobody knows any of my banking informations. And until they do, it will be a long time. It will be a pain in the ass. And not in a negative way, like, oh, they will not use my money. No, it was like I was sad because my family, they wouldn't be able to use my money. I worked so hard to save money, and in the end, nobody would be able to use it. And that's fucked up. That was the third thought I had. It's fucked up. Not the thought itself, but me thinking that. Like, I think I'm like, think about it. First, I might die. Second, money. Third, that's fucked up. Yeah, that was fucked up. Everything was fucked up. I thought of dying, and then I thought about people not being able to use the money I saved. And yeah, after that, I did a bunch of exams. It was a kidney stone. I was not gonna die. I just thought I was gonna die. It was a weird pain. I had no idea what it was. It was in the middle of my stomach. Everybody says that kidney stone starts from the back. Mine started from the front. Who knew? After taking out the meds, I didn't do surgery or anything like that. I just went home, took the meds I needed to take, the pills, whatever. And then after a while, I keep going to urologists to do blood exams and see what was the cause of that kidney stone. I ate healthy. I never drank sodas. I don't know. That was really weird. Everything people say that give kidney stones, I wasn't doing. And in the end, the cause that every single doctor I went to pointed out is genetic and stress. most likely stress. And after that, I changed my life. I changed the way I think. I forced myself to play video games. I forced myself to not be productive, even though I still have trouble to do that. I still feel bad that I'm not being productive all the time. It's something I need to actively act upon. And yeah, that's it, man. That was a tough one. And yeah, so ultra productivity is a scam. I have met other people who did similar things and got messed up in different ways. After a while, I met a guy that he used to work all the time, and he used to work all the time, mornings, afternoons, nights. He was older, and then when COVID hits, he was his body was so tired that he got like paralyzed. And again, the doctors told him, at least that's the information I got to me, that the reason why COVID was so strong on him was because he was so tired from working too much. And I met other people that got burned out as well, had major health issues. Be careful. It's really easy to get trapped in that productivity mindset. I need to get rich. I need to do everything I can. I need to read 100,000 million books. I need to save infinite money, whatever. Buy a yacht and buy supercars and blah. No, man. Be careful. It's not worth it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe.